are moments when athletes were caught cheating. Pro tip, don't be like them. This might just look like a harmless piece of trash thrown onto the field, but for one footballer, it's an opportunity. An opportunity to be awarded a foul, which he didn't get. After fouling an attacker, this goalkeeper decided the best way to avoid a red card was to pretend that he was unconscious. Sometimes when things aren't going your way, you gotta give yourself a hand to get an advantage. The fact the referee didn't notice is incredible. What's the best way to avoid being red carded? Steal the red card before he has a chance to book you. I'm sure that'll work.
Not today.
In a now infamous scandal, Lionel Messi clearly punched the ball instead of heading it in for a disputed goal.
Cheater!
Coming down to the final stretch, one runner lost balance and made sure his opponent came down with him, a move costing both of them a chance at first place. In a move so smooth, it almost went undetected. J.R. Smith bends down and quickly unties Dwight Howard's shoe right before a free throw. Almost at the finish line, Liu Zhang's robbed of the World Championship when Robles grabs his arm multiple times in an attempt to slow him down. In marathons, drink stations are set up for runners to rehydrate during their grueling race. One runner saw an opportunity to sabotage the other runners, and he took it. This has to be the sneakiest piece of cheating in professional skating. Blink and you'll miss the moment the lane marker was pushed into a rival's skate.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
When Antonio Brown streaked away on the kick return, no one could have guessed he was about to unleash the Sparta kick. This goalkeeper's obviously not thinking straight. If there's one person you don't dive to, it's him. Who's gonna send the ref off? Himself? Karate chopping your opponent's arm is never a good thing, but it becomes especially worse when you find out he was aiming for his broken fingers. You know you've messed up when you're called the Muay Thai king in football. The motorcyclist in blue is a horrible cheater. Romano Fenati was renowned for dirty tricks on the track, including kicking, screaming, and even pulling his opponent's kill switch. This is not the kind of ball sports you want to play if you want to have kids someday. Let's just hope he can walk it off. Footballers can get away with a lot, but Mbappe wasn't fooling anyone this time.
Perfect.
While what Veltman did is technically legal, it's terrible sportsmanship. Cycling races are intense and fatigue sets in super fast. No wonder Nibali decided to hitch a ride with the support car for a few seconds.
Bye, have a great time.
Even if you're on opposing teams, a friendly pat on the back is always welcome. Unless, of course, it's this kind of pat, the one that earns you a red card.
Nope.
If the ball's headed out, why not just move the line itself? Something you can only do in beach volleyball. When David Luiz took a dive at the corner, he couldn't help but crack a smile at how he'd fooled everyone.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Frustrated he wasn't getting a rise out of his opponent, Marcelo had a sudden bout of Oscar syndrome.
I'm dying. Help me.
This has to be the worst case of identity crisis I've ever seen on the pitch. He managed to stop the goal, but at what cost?
Denied.
This is a textbook example of when milking a penalty goes wrong. This blatant kick to the back went absolutely unnoticed by the referee, despite being in full view of cameras and several officials. LeBron may be one of the greats, but when he's trying to earn a penalty, he's just like the rest of us.
I can't believe you've done this.
This has to be the most obnoxious way to score a penalty. Brian Carrasco literally used the arm of his opponent to punch himself. There's high performance, and then there's straight up doping. Have a guess at who I'm referring to. At least she came out clean about it.
And so it is with a great amount of shame that I stand before you and tell you that I have betrayed your trust.
When Daniel Cormier was 1.2 pounds overweight for his lightweight division,
A few moments later.
he miraculously made weight just minutes later. His response?
Daniel, how did you miraculously lose 1.2 pounds in 90 seconds?
I'm not saying Neymar's a notorious diver, but legend has it that he's still rolling around that stadium to this day.
Medic!
When you're up by a narrow margin, time wasting becomes an art, but no one was ready for his retaliation. This would be completely fine in the NFL, but in a baseball game, not so much.
Pull his arms out. Does he give him a forearm arm shiver. Yeah, he does.
If you have to pull your opponent down to get in the lead, you're not training hard enough. She insisted she did nothing wrong, but the replay says otherwise. I don't know what's more ironic, the fact that this player's second name spells out immobile, or that his injury disappeared once the celebrations began.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
After being ejected after an epic meltdown, McClendon did what no player's ever been able to do in the history of the MLB. He stole first base.
Pick up first base a la Lou Piniella. And now whips it toward the runway.
After Rob Gronkowski was fouled with a pass interference but received no penalty, he took matters into his own hands and got revenge. Safe to say he won't be doing that again. Screaming down the sideline, it looked like the Miami Dolphins player simply fell over until they checked the replay. He'd been tripped by a trainer with the Jets who was subsequently fired and fined $25,000. Most players dive in the box to get a penalty. This keeper dives in the box for fun? There really is no benefit in doing this. If you thought men's football was intense, you probably just haven't seen the Women's League yet.
A blatant trip in the 77th minute, then a little ball to the head.
Russell Westbrook will do whatever it takes to keep his team from losing, even if that means slapping his opponent across the face.
Fatality.
I said it once and I'll say it again. Women's football is no joke. Crazy how she was only given a yellow card. This cell phone between teammates wasn't fully worked out beforehand. LeBron simply felt a slap and dived at the opportunity. Too bad they're in the same team. With the goalkeeper out of play, nothing was going to stop the easiest goal of the year, except for the masseur who decided he needed to help his team win. You're not allowed to challenge the keeper when he's in his box, even if you technically don't touch him, so while this looked clever, he deserved that yellow card. Just when you thought basketball was safe, taking a dive has infiltrated the NBA as well. Bradley Beal not only did an Oscar-worthy performance, he cheered the penalty as soon as it was awarded. After a sideline break, replays showed an opposition coach standing on the field to influence the path of Jacoby Jones. After Taj Gibson lost a shoe in the middle of a game, rather than putting it back on, it became part of his defensive strategy.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
In a moment of pure frustration, Zidane wanted to show the world he's not a force to be reckoned with. This has to be either the most big-brain football move or the dumbest with a happy ending. I'll let you decide.
Nice shot.
This is one of those moments where nobody looks good. His pass could have been a bit more gentle, but that ball was nowhere close to hitting him in the face.
Medic!
Sometimes an accidental shot comes in so hot you're not quite convinced it wasn't completely on purpose. I'm still not sure if Lazovic was tripped, possessed, or electrocuted. At least if his football career doesn't pan out, there's always breakdancing.
Cheater!
After rejecting 2 points at the other end, Andrew Wiggins not only went up for his own Grand Slam dunk, but he also did his rendition of the Nutcracker at the same time. This has to be the most blatant dive ever captured. Either that or the stadium's haunted and he keeps getting tripped by ghosts. We all know footballers love a good dive, but this takes the cake. Rwandan players often place witchcraft charms near the goal in superstitious tradition. When one attacker became aware of it, he took it upon himself to remove the token.
Nice.
Marcus Morris Jr. really doesn't like enthusiastic defense, so when Justin Anderson got in his face, he lost his temper and lashed out. On purpose or not, that's one way to slow down your opponent. I'm no fencing expert, but I'm pretty sure headbutts are against the rules. Someone better let this guy know. When you're leading with only minutes to go, every second wasted is a second closer to victory. With 3 attackers and an open goal, what could possibly stop them from scoring? Nothing but some good old what goes around comes around. This is an interesting way to pass the ball to your opponent.